After the second meeting, things do not explode into drama or intensity. Instead, something quieter begins. Jim does not suddenly become part of a celebrity lifestyle. He goes back to work the next day. He keeps his routine. He sees his friend. Life continues as normal. But there is now a phone number. Freddie calls. Sometimes in the evening, sometimes late. The conversations are not always long, but they are regular. One evening the phone rings in Jim's flat. Hello? It's me. I thought it might be. Are you busy? Just sitting in. What about you? I've been in the studio all day. I needed to hear a normal voice. Jim smiles slightly. I'm not sure I'm the normal. You're normal enough. There is a softness in Freddie's voice during these calls. Less performance, less energy. He does not need to impress Jim. They talk about simple things, work, music, what they had for dinner. Freddie asks about clients at the saloon. Jim asks about recording sessions. Freddie does not speak much about fame. With Jim, he speaks about music itself, the work, the frustration, the excitement when something finally sounds right. The calls become part of the week. Soon, Jim begins spending more nights at Garden Lodge. The house feels large at first. High ceilings, carefully chosen art, fresh flowers placed in different rooms. Everything is arranged with intention. But the longer Jim stays, the more he notices something else. The quiet. Freddie lives surrounded by people during the day, yet the evenings can feel empty once everyone leaves. One night after dinner, they sit together in the living room. Do you like it here? Freddie asks. Jim looks around. It's comfortable. That's not what I asked. Jim considers his answer. It's beautiful, but it's still just a house. Freddie studies him carefully. Most people walk in and say it's amazing. It is amazing, but it's not what makes a home, Jim says. There is no argument. Freddie leans back and nods slightly, thinking. For perhaps the first time in a long while, someone is speaking to him without trying to flatter him. Jim still keeps his job. He does not move in immediately. He comes and goes. Freddie's schedule remains unpredictable. Some days he disappears into long recording sessions with Queen. Other days are filled with meetings or travel plans. Jim sees that part of the world from the outside. One afternoon, Freddie invites him to the studio. The environment is different from the house. There is noise, equipment, cables across the floor. Band members focused on their instruments. Conversations about sound levels and timing. Freddie moves easily through it all. Jim stands back and watches. During a short break, Freddie walks over. Well, Freddie says. It's loud. Freddie laughs. That's the idea. You look different here, Jim says. Different how? Like you belong here. Freddie pauses for a moment. I do. There's no arrogance in his voice, just certainty. Jim begins to understand that the stage and the studio are not just performance, they are part of who Freddie is. Back at Garden Lodge, life settles into rhythm. Dinner at home, music playing softly in the background. Sometimes Freddie cooks, sometimes staff prepare the meal. One evening they sit at a kitchen table rather than formal dining room. I prefer this room, Freddie says. Why? Jim responds. It feels less serious. You don't always have to be serious. People expect things. From you. Freddie nods. From me. Jim reaches for his drink. I don't expect anything. Freddie looks at him directly. I know. That difference becomes important. Jim does not ask for introductions to famous friends. He does not push to attend every event. He's not interested in the spotlight. He's interested in Freddie as a person. As Jim spends more time at the house, he begins meeting the people close to Freddie. Assistants, friends, staff. Some are protective, some are curious. At first, Jim feels the tension. He understands that he is entering a private world that has its own rules. One evening, after guests leave, Freddie senses the pressure. "They are watching you," Freddie says. "I noticed," Jim said. "Does it bother you?" "Not really. I'm not here for them." Freddie smiles faintly. "Good answer." Over time, the tension softens. Jim does not try to change anything. He does not demand attention. He simply remains steady. Gradually, the visits become longer. A weekend turns into several days. A few clothes stay behind in a drawer. There is no big announcement. One afternoon, Jim arrives with a small bag. Freddie notices. "Staying longer?" Freddie asks. "If that's all right. I was hoping you would." The world are simple, but they carry weight. Jim begins spending most nights at Garden Lodge. He still works, still maintains his own independence, but the house no longer feels temporary. It feels shared. Late one evening, long after dinner, they sit in the living room with low light. The house is silent. Freddie breaks the quiet. "You're not impressed by any of this, are you?" Jim looks around the room. "I'm impressed by your music. And the rest. It's your life, not mine." Freddie studies him carefully. "That's why I like you." "Because I don't care?" "Because you don't care about the wrong things." The honesty between them feels calm. There is no dramatic music, no grand declaration, just two men speaking plainly. A weeks pass, something steady forms. Not explosive, not chaotic, steady. Freddie continues his work with Queen. Jim continues cutting hair. But when Freddie comes home, Jim is there more often than not. They develop routines. Tea in the morning, quiet evenings, small jokes shared in private. The distance between their two worlds does not disappear, but it becomes manageable. Freddie still shines in public. At home, he relaxes. Jim does not try to reshape him. He does not try to compete with the stage. He simply stays. And for Freddie, that steadiness begins to matter more than the applause. There is no single moment in which they decide, "This is serious." Instead, seriousness grows quietly. A drawer filled with clothes, a toothbrush beside another, a habit of saying good night in the same room. By the end, Jim is no longer just visiting Freddie's world. He's a part of it. And Freddie, for perhaps the first time in a long while, is not alone when the house goes quiet.